Hi, this is another example of function operations under domains. And well, here are three functions: f of x, g of x, and the last one, h of x here. Now the operation we have to do is actually this one, f times g times h of x. I'm just writing here in two different ways. This part is just the same as this one here. Just so you know, there are different notations to write the same thing. And okay, before doing anything, we have to do something about the domain of the functions you are going to use in the operation here. You have to find the domains of each function here before going any further. In this case, I'm going to start with f of x. So I'm going to start by taking what's inside the root here and make sure this x plus 4 has to be greater or equal than 0. In other words, x has to be greater or equal than -4. I'm going to do here the domain of f of x would be like this: domain of f from starting from -4. We include the -4 by using this bracket here until positive infinite. That would be the domain of f. Now I'm going to proceed with g of x. I'm going to here, as this we have a rational expression here. I'm going to take what's in the denominator, which is this part here, is x minus 5. I'm going to make sure to make this x minus 5 different from 0. So in other words, x has to be different from 5. So domain of g would be like this: all the real numbers except for the number 5. Now I'm going to proceed with the h of x, which is pretty much the same case as g. We have here in this case and 3 times x on the denominator, but this actually places no restriction at all. The restriction would be here in this x minus 2 in the denominator, would be something pretty much the same thing as g of x. I'm going to take the x minus 2 and make it different from 0 like this. So x has to be different from 2. Now I'm going to write the domain here. Domain for h would be like this: domain for h would be all the real numbers except for the number 2. Now I'm going to start just here in the center on the left. I'm going to do this now, f times g times h. Now once that we have the domains of the function we're going to use in the operation, we can proceed to start. So I'm going to write here f times g times h of x, which would be the same. I'm going to write using the same colors here. Would be the square root of x plus 4. Here I'm going to use a times here. Then g of x, which is the green one, would be 1 over x minus 5. And this will be times h of x, which is the gray one, will be 3 times x over x minus 2. Now notice something about this x plus 1, this x plus 4, I'm sorry, will be something just as the same as we have all over divided by 1, just going to multiply horizontally, and we'll get to this statement here. Would be 3 times x times the square root of x plus 4, and the denominator we will have the other two terms multiplying, would be x minus 5 times x minus 2. Now from here we'll be just, well, pretty much done with the actual operation of f times g times h, this part. And actually the only part left will be just to get the domain here, this expression. I'm getting here the domain here. We have to take each factor in the denominator, this one and this one, first to make them different from 0 here. So x will be different from 5. In this case, x minus 2 different from 0. And here x different from 2. Now I should do the same with the root. What's inside the root is just actually, well, this restriction is already considered in previous f of x. I'm just going to do it anyway to show you everything out here. So I'm going to place here, I'm going to sign this here and here. And with the x plus 4 has to be greater or equal than 0. So x has to be greater or equal than -4. And like this. So the domain of this f times g times f times g times h would be something like this. I'm going to write like here with a sub-index just to sign what we're doing here. Would be all the real numbers. No, would be from -4 included here, -4 to until number 2. We do not include number 2, so we use a parenthesis, then we use the union, another parenthesis, 2 until 5 here. We use parentheses, then a union because we are excluding here the 5, and then until infinite, positive infinite here. So this will be the domain of f times g times h, and now we will have to write the actual domain of the including these restrictions we found before, this one, and this one. But actually they are already included here in this domain of f of g of h. I'm just going to write it here in the center, below in the center with red, just so to notice this out. The domain will be just, well, actually the same one from we did, from -4 to 2, union 2 until 5, close with parentheses, then union 5 to positive infinite, and that will be it. This is another example of functions, operations, and their domain.